Hey Taurus. I actually feel more calm or I enjoy watching videos where when you turn it on and you're getting ready with someone. I know it's a very, could be very basic thing or something, but I find that even if I don't love, the YouTuber's voice or the person's voice, I like that I'm getting ready with them. I like that I'm doing something with them when I'm watching, or it's not just them sitting or whatever it is. I listen to podcasts on YouTube, which is interesting. I could just do that on the app. However, I don't always watch them. I just listen to them on YouTube. Why am I saying all this? Well, it's because there's something about your nature that not only has been shaken up this past year, especially for Taurus risings. Me too. You find that the very small details in how you decide to even produce certain things, so it's like being the producer of your life, or it's in a sense, but it's also being very authentic. And I don't think you know how to be anything else but that right now. I don't think you ever are someone to like mask yourself completely either. It really just depends. A lot of times you'll just be more reserved, which comes off maybe that way, but it's really just an extremely observant side of you. So you have an eclipse in your sign, a lunar eclipse in your sign at the end of the month. But before we get into it, all information to work with me one-on-one is below. All of the second part and extended link, it will be below as well. That is on Patreon. And it's about letting yourself be in the adjustment period while you're in it. And knowing that the natural beauty about you is how you move and how you do things, how you do the things that you do. Even just the very simple, normal things. It's how you're moving in life. It's how you're deciding each small decision. However, it doesn't shake you, right? Like see how my energy is? It's not like frantic and like I feel like I need to get this done. It's more just like I'm having this conversation with you while I'm adjusting everything, and you're in this process with me. You're in life with me. You, again, are finding a way to do this in a way where you're communicating to yourself these profound messages from unknown places or conversations. You're finding that when you focus on these things, it's so much easier for maybe to let go of things that just don't seem to matter as much right now. Again, that can come from a place of you intuitively knowing that's what you need to do. So even though there's so much chaos and around you, perhaps like maybe just in the world, but if it is in your immediate environment as well, or different things reflecting your immediate environment, you realize that you're very observant to it this month. That even though you're changing, everything else is changing and things are getting shaken up and things are constantly moving in terms of their perspective of you, it causes you to have this retreated side of you where you again become more observant, become more like a witness to your life. But the magic of it is that you're like you're in the right place at the right time and say the right thing at the right time. You're allowing certain things to come out of you now, more than they ever were, but there's no force behind it. And if you feel like something needs to be forced, it's maybe important that you take a look at why you think that this situation, this interaction needs to be forced. What if you let it be what it is and then allow it to come up naturally. That's something that you and Scorpio bounce off each other, and that you can continue to bounce off each other in this life. If you have both of those placements, either one of those placements. But you're noticing that this Mars and Gemini that is making people talk a lot. Whether it's necessary or not is not the question. It's just there's a lot of information flying. There's a lot of stimulation flying. And you realize more now, okay, if this is what it is, if this is what it's going to be like for the next, it's going into, I believe, February, then, or January, February, one of those two, or towards the end of January, then you have to find what's important to you, or what you want to do in this moment, or how you feel like moving about this time right now. It's really important to stay grounded. And it's not like you're the most grounded sign. However, you're so aware of all of this movement that whatever's coming out or whatever's coming from these eclipses can have a tendency to make you fall back into maybe a stuck place, or a stuck thought process, or something that you used to deal with years ago. Because that's maybe what you could be noticing with Uranus and Taurus, is that you're constantly like going back to different times in your past, perhaps, and having to fix up some situations, or some situations need to be let go of, or shifts, and you're noticing random things come up, but it's what's stunting you from your intuition. And it's all linked together. It's like a lightning bolt or a random thunderstorm. And it's really important that the fire doesn't just remain in what you externally put in it, but it's the fire that you keep burning inside of you. It doesn't have to be vocal all the time. And even though you're the throat, you understand that. And when you can show up in the right place at the right time with that raw emotion and say what you need to say. And how do you do that? I know it sounds like a lot harder. It's just trusting it. It's a big trusting game, because there will be a lot of people who will want your attention. There will be a lot of people who will try to distract you. But you are very clear this month. You have some major realizations, some some major movements, as well. And it's these minor details that make your energy shift, even mostly in a way that makes sense for you, which it makes everything seem like it is smoothed out. You know, how you can see the pyramids from far away and you can think they're smooth, but you come close up and they're rough. There's some things that are being smoothed out this month that have once maybe been more difficult. But it seems like you're finding this place this month, even though things are in your opposition and really lighting you up. You're not afraid. You understand what it's like to be the buffalo, even though you're called a bull. I don't know, you still remind me of the buffalo that turns towards the storm. So there's a lot of things that you've confronted already head on that maybe you've thought about. Things are coming out into the open to you, or to other people, or all together. But I think this is a lot of very small acts, even from other people, bring you profound messages this month. Like maybe being open to the way that you care for people and allowing them to care for you, and knowing that it's coming from a genuine place. Because then, Taurus, that provokes the question, why do you do it? You know why you do it. You know why, that it's that pure place in your heart, inside of you, within you, that just wants to do it. That's just what you want to do. That's just what you do. However, you're being reminded that you can't always, all the time. And that sometimes you need to allow yourself to listen the way you are also being heard, because then it comes off more as something, instead of like enlightening people and allowing them to be with you on the ride, it sounds like you know better. It's okay if you do. It's totally okay if you do, but it's how you present it, and that's what you're noticing. I think that's like your biggest, like, oh, this is what's happening in life right now. Okay. And this is what's going to be happening, and Mars is going into retrograde, which I think is really showing up, and you're finding this fine-tuning in this emotional bandwidth and your ability to really keep up with it all, and you're realizing you might need a lot more rest too. So if you've overcommitted yourself, you might find yourself maybe wanting to cancel plans. Don't feel guilty for that. And if you do, I mean, sometimes you have to do what you need to do for yourself. Not saying for all of you, but some of you, depending on your placements, you may need to do a little bit of both. You may need to relax some days, but then you find yourself having a lot of energy other days. Putting that towards something, and maybe it's about speaking in a place where you can direct your speech, your thoughts, or your speech, and what you want to say. So like a platform where you can talk about it, a platform where it can be heard, where it has the energy as an outlet, right? If you've already started one, great. I don't know, I'm just suggesting maybe you do it when everything turns into Sagittarius. You might have a lot to say. You gotta put it somewhere, and some people in your life might need to hear it. I'm not saying don't talk to them, because you can deepen a connection right now too. There can be a deepening in connection, and especially from receiving from your partner. This act of receiving together, this growth together, because the eclipse that just happened, the energy is very much still present while I'm doing this reading, and it will trickle out for the next 6 months until the last of your axis of eclipses, and then we move forward. And it's just this act of, if I overdo this, I won't have enough energy for this. And that's the question I'm basically presenting to you in this, is that you be more open to that question. There's a lot that needs to be said and transmuted, and maybe even leftover conversations, or even with yourself, because Libra season gives us a huge advantage if you allow yourself to see it for what it is. There's a lot going on, but the main thing is being where you actually want to be and what holds up to your values. Because if you move forward without this person or without this situation, or you come from Libra season feeling like you've overdid yourself in a way where it didn't feel like it was under your control, in this season it could be a lot more detrimental. And obsessions, like if you're already feeling certain things in your head, it's important that you have an outlet, or you have people in your life that you can talk to as well, because it's true, there's a lot of different perspectives, there's a lot of different yet similar places that we can come from and come to the same emotion and come to the same conclusion about our life. We all have it. And when you're given this much information for you about yourself, in the way that I came in, because I was very agitated this morning, and I was like, what is going on? And then I come to your reading and I find out, you can find out something about, I don't know, yourself in all different ways. And you're wanting to see it from your own view, a lot of you too. Or the closest thing to your heart, which would be the people closest to you, right? If you can really rely or trust those people. Because so that towards the end of the month, there will be a lot more available to you And I really want you to like your choices. I really want you to like your options, because it's about, you know, the long game, and it's going to show you, to an extent, how far you've come from what you've decided 6 months ago or whatever happened in this time, from that time till now. You may feel like reflecting on that too. If you don't, I mean, if you're not in the reflective zone, maybe you just give yourself a couple moments one day this month, or you might even find yourself in a situation or with someone who vocalizes that, those thoughts, maybe even to you. But again, more energy can come from this. It's kind of, the choice is yours. And I know it's hard to hear sometimes. That's why I'm like, I know, but you have to decide and vocalize what you're not like. And if you allow certain things to let go, sometimes, like, you don't, like, it's amazing that sometimes, like, things can just dissolve. Some things just end up dissolving. And then, you know, and maybe you can even process for next time, like, this is what I would actually like to say in this situation. Start trusting that voice that is your ruling. All right? So I'll see you next month. All information to work with me is below, including the second part to this and everything else that comes with it. Pull more cards, you know, the whole thing. All right, Taurus, I will see you next month.